Hello everybody, good evening. Giga Chad Books here. Got another book review for you guys. Taking another look at a Haruki Murakami novel, After Dark. I'm just trying to get to know some more authors. I'm trying to read more from authors that I've already read books from, just so that I can, get an idea of how these people write and their respective styles. So Haruki Murakami has definitely been a highlight of my year so far. I've read this is my third book from him. But yeah, this was initially the book that I wanted to read from Haruki Murakami when I wanted to start reading him. And I'm glad that it wasn't the first book that I read from him. I think that this book is fairly different from his typical style that I've seen in Norwegian Wood and The Elephant Vanishes, with all those short stories that are in it. This is very different. It still has Murakami's style and his character in it, but it's just very, very different. This is written almost in it is written in the present tense, which is kind of odd. There's not many books that you read that are written in the present tense, so it's definitely a little bit jarring at first, but it's not so bad. It's kind of reminiscent of a screenplay, I would say. The introduction of the book, written by Murakami, about like 20 years later, I think, after having written it, he talks about how he did try to write it like in a very cinematic sort of way, like as if like he's using like stage cues and whatnot, and just very dialogue centric way of storytelling, which is definitely a big part of Murakami's stories, is the dialogue, and which is why I typically really like his books, so far at least. But I really like this one. In terms of the plot, we follow the story of this girl named Mari, I believe. Yeah, we have Mari, and she kind of just comes into contact with like a few different characters throughout this book. You have like Takahashi, I believe, and then there's like another guy that has a very similar name. It's like Takanashi. So I think there's Takahashi and Takanashi, and then you have this other lady that was like a professional wrestler and is now like the owner of or manager of a love hotel. And then there's like two other girls that work at this love hotel that she shares some time with and has some pretty deep and revealing conversations with. There's also Mari's sister, which is Ari, or Ari, something like that. So I thought this was a very interesting book. It kind of just tells the story of Mari, and there's also like another, like, I don't know. It's kind of like it's a very intertwining kind of plot. There's a lot of different people in this book, and they all have different things going on, but they're all kind of wrapped up with each other somehow. It's kind of an inconclusive kind of plot. It kind of feels like we don't get everything that we need to get. We don't get some kind of like resolution to the problem that's at hand, and we don't have the questions answered that we might want to have answered. Definitely a lot of open-endedness to this book, specifically surrounding Eri and like this whole like television set sort of thing. It was pretty cool. It was super interesting. It's probably my favorite part of the book, are these scenes revolving around Eri and this TV, where like there's just like this TV that isn't plugged into the wall, but yet it turns on, and it's just constantly shifting with like this image, and like there's like a bunch of static and stuff, and then all of a sudden there's just like this faceless man sitting in this room, this empty fluorescent lighted room, and it's just him in there, and he's just watching Eri through this TV. And then all of a sudden she like gets transported in this TV, and then she wakes up inside of the TV, and she's like, "What the freak am I doing here?" And I don't know. You don't get a reason for this. It doesn't really contribute to the story in a way. Maybe there's some kind of meaning behind it that I'm not grasping, which is, totally viable. Um, but this book just definitely encapsulates a lot of. It's an interesting viewpoint on, because there's so many characters, and you get to observe their actions when they're like together, but then also when they're apart from each other. So it's like if two people are hanging out and then they go their separate ways, it's like, what are they doing afterwards? It's kind of like how this book kind of manipulates its plot, which is really cool. I really like that idea, and it kind of just encapsulates the nightlife, um, and what occurs like when the sun goes down, what kind of interactions with people, and the lives that these people live at a time where, society isn't so awake. So I thought this was a really cool book. It was very interesting and very different from what I've read. The narrator is really interesting. I'm definitely kind of perplexed by who this narrator is. At first I thought they were like crows. I thought that they were like crows that were like going through windows or something, and like just kind of watching these people and just telling of their stories and stuff. And then it's the narrator writes as if like it's an audience, or as if it's a camera. It's like we pull back from this scene and then we zoom back in to observe this feature of this person's face, and it's really interesting. It's like if you were to describe just like a TV show that you're watching and like the camera movements behind it. It's pretty cool. It's very different. It's very experimental. I liked it. I don't think a lot of people will like it, but this was a super short read, and a pretty good one. I definitely won't be forgetting it. But yeah, another Haruki Murakami banger. This is definitely my least favorite out of what I read from him, but not so bad considering that it's just, obviously a step in a different direction for him. So yeah, that about encapsulates all of my thoughts on Haruki Murakami's After Dark. I suggest giving it a read, but it's not his best work, so I wouldn't suggest it for your first Haruki Murakami book. It's still good, still interesting. But thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, I hope that y'all have a good night, a good day, and a good tomorrow. Things will always continue to get better, and we're all going to grow and be great people. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.